I literally sacrificed hitting my macros tonight in order to make this video for you guys. I'm joking. It's not for you guys. It's for me. So there's a lot we need to go over today. This will be another one of those like breakthrough recaps. I feel like every single day now we're almost having a new breakthrough within our trading, but there are definitely reviews that are staples compared to others. Reviews where we truly understand the context behind what's happening and how to further improve the genuine ones where it's like, you know, not like, oh, okay, let me just stop doing this, and instead rather, okay, I'm going to stop doing this for X reason and look to refine it by mechanically doing X. Like, though, this is one of those again. So this is about scaling in. This is going to be a huge one that will really refine our trading, and I'll explain how in a minute. So, but before that, a little bit of context if you guys did not watch today's video. Oh, oh, holy squint maxing. Who does bro think he is? K Shami? Like, what are we doing here? Anyway, anyways, um, I got sidetracked. Oh, sorry, Anyways, I'm so like chopped in person. It's not even funny. Like, oh my goodness, can't wait to surgery, Max. Anywho, so if you watched today's trade and yesterday's trade, these were both days where we ended up getting wicked out. However, a little bit before that, upon these first initial reviews, I've mentioned how I'm still in the works of refining my model. What do I mean as by model? I mean everything as a whole, to the directional bias, to the executions, to the timing, to the entries, to the scaling mechanics. Um, draw like take profits is fine, but all of those four things, that is what I need to refine in order and truly have real clarity and understanding in order to genuinely get to where I want to go toward pertaining to my trading goals. So why am I saying this in specific? I'm saying this because so far we have addressed, what have we addressed so far? We've addressed losses, we haven't fully addressed entries yet. My camera's doing the thing again, or just, will it fix itself? I just hurt my knee from standing up. Anyways, bro, it'll fix itself eventually. So, what have we gone over so far? Actually, let's ask ChatGPT. Why not? Bro's literally keeping a log. Recording a video right now. I'm breaking down what we've gone over so far pertaining to my model. I said the four things we really need to refine and fix is, what did I say again? I said entry, I said timing, I said direction, and I said scaling in mechanics. Those are the four, not in any specific order. So far we have addressed, can you tell me what we've addressed, and also what we ended up mentioning today about our scaling in mechanic? I'm saying this so we can get a gauge on where we are, because today, after getting trolled out and missing out on over $4,000 in the past 2 days, I reflected upon something within my scaling mechanic that I know will help me be able to take more winning trades, and I'll go into that in a second. So we've dug into entry, premature entries. However, we haven't fully refined the premature entries yet. Timing, we've done that. Direction and timing we've done. Direction, we did that in the last one. That was here. Timing, we've done that here with our SMTs and even looked into those additional losses. However, scaling, this is today. Let, let me give you guys a short recap because this video will be a lot longer. Hopefully like an hour and 30 minutes. This is going to be a very, very, very important video. Like I said, it's one of those staple videos as well. Dang, this, bro, it's so crazy how like I'm only getting like 17 views, 16 views, 20 views, 25 views. Like, these videos will genuinely make me a millionaire, and it's so unfortunate that no one will see this. Like, probably 2 people will see this. So unfortunate. But guess what? That's why I'll be able to sell a banger course in the future. Like, what? I have proof of concept. You guys can't even get mad at me for selling a course in the future. Are you serious? You guys are gonna get mad at me for selling a mentorship? I give you guys free mentorship right here. Like, what are we talking about? Literally showing you guys exactly how I'm breaking everything down. Like, you would never actually need to pay for anything I have if you just watch all my videos. You could literally see me going from unprofitable to profitable in real time, by the way. Like, what? Be so for real. Anyways, so about today's trade, this is very important because hello, if we go over here, we've seen from today's trade we ended up getting trailed out to the tick. Yesterday's trade idea, we also got trailed out due to our scaling in mechanics. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, I've gotten trailed out 2 times within the past 2 days, missed out on 4 grand. Okay, cool. Typically it's like, it happens, here and there. It's not a common occurrence. However, I took a second to reflect upon my journal to see how often does it happen actually, and how much potential profit have I missed out upon due to getting scaled out or trailed out of a trade idea, or having fear upon my first initial contract scaling in that I would get trailed out. That initial fear of getting trailed out happens 8 out of 10 times. However, scaling in, not as much, but that was more so what I thought until I actually seen the data. And that's why it's so important to track and journal your trades. So if we go to trade status and we go to break even, not to any losing trades where I got trailed out, because there are some trade ideas where I got trailed out and it was a losing trade. I don't know if I've flagged those already. Let's see. Probability. I don't think I flagged it yet. However, that's something. Oh, we'll go back in and do. Not today, though. But let's first just start off on my executed break-even trades. Oh my gosh, my foot is so itchy. So we have a total of 9 of them, or I can't count, bro. 8 of them. Oh my goodness. We have a total of 8 break-even trade executions. Now, does that mean all of these would have hit my take profit? No. However, what we're going to do right now is we're going to see out of all of these how many would have hit our take profit and how many would have been stopped out, where the saving break-even mechanic potentially saved us. Now, I am taking into consideration there's probably 3 trades in here that were very, very horribly low probability trades, like this one right here where I immediately closed. So I don't necessarily want to count this. I want to count ones where they genuinely had a trade idea back behind it and had additional scaled in contracts toward this and displacement toward the draw on liquidity. So let's look into that real quick. We're not even going to do the tally mark. First trade idea right here. Trailed out. How? I don't know. Oh, I didn't take my profit. Took that high. Didn't take my profit. Scaled an additional contract improperly. And ended up getting trailed out. Did I? What was this? What? Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's one trade. That was a crazy profit. This would have been. How much money was this? This was like ridiculous. Look at this RR, bro. This is like, oh my gosh. That helps me not feel left out from all these top tickers, bro. Okay, so we have one trade idea. Lots of profit. Huge RR. 2 trade ideas. 3. Oh, cracked my neck. 3 trade ideas. 4, not counting this. This one is one of those garbage ones where I shouldn't even really count, because I'm 90% sure it was against bias, or it was this one? Did I short this one? Oh no, I didn't. Never mind. I was thinking of something different. This trade idea was, hold on, Monday, August 18th. Monday, August 18th. Hold on, let me. Monday. Oh. Oh my goodness. Both were flagged as break even. Anyways, or no, I took it on ES. I'm so stupid. Monday, August 18th. Where is this, bro? Monday, August 18th? Is there another one I'm not seeing? Monday, wait. Am I... Chat be so for real right now. Okay, here you go. SMT hold broke my rules. This is what I was looking for. This is a loss, however, A plus. The price action continue back to the downside. This... Like... Are you serious? This is what I'm talking about, where these aren't break... This is an example of a trade idea that wasn't a break-even trade, however, still had the scaling mechanic within it that was still a loss that would have been able to be refined, is going to be refined through the process I am about to break down in a minute. But, you know, screw it. Let's count that, because I did all that searching for it. I'm going to count it. I'm going to put an asterisk next to it. So, okay, executed break even. Oh my gosh. Okay, back to this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Friday, yep, I remember this one. 6. And then lastly, this ended up being a loss, yes. So should we count it? Yes. So, 6 trade ideas where the... Okay, time to talk to ChatGPT. Don't worry, guys, it's going to be important. So after reviewing all of my break-even trades, not my losing trades where I got trailed out of certain trade ideas before they hit the draw on liquidity, due to having lack of scaling in mechanics or whatnot. So out of all my break-even trades, I had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades, and 6 out of those 7 trades, had that boy, all got trailed out due to improper mechanics, scaling mechanics as well. So, and sorry, not just that, also behind some of those trade ideas or mistakes where I didn't take profit as well. But yeah, within these trades, I can also say I remember vividly that I was very, very nervous whether or not these trade ideas will hit. I didn't have full conviction during my scaling. However, if I had just executed normally without any scaled in contracts, would have been a lot different. Now, I already discussed what I mentioned earlier, how I still like to scale in additional contracts. I'm just mentioning this because, and only one of those trade ideas out of those 6 or out of those 7 actually benefited me going break even because price action would have reversed and stopped me out. All of the other ones I missed out on profit. And that's not counting the two trade or the one trade from today and the one trade from yesterday. So it's actually 9 trade ideas. Okay. Holy cow, my brain was like slow for a second. Let's see what ChatGPT says. This is how you use ChatGPT if you want to improve your trading. Like, you know. This is actually a huge find because what you did was separate your break-evens into 2 buckets. True saves, good break-evens, missed wins. I don't even need ChatGPT. I kind of use it it's easier to, like, paint everything I want to, like, say onto something. But I don't even need ChatGPT for this. I figured out everything on my own. Holy, my problem-solving skills are so good. Please buy my mentorship. It'll be, like, $500 a month. Bro, that's not even bad. Be so for real. People pay like, bro, guys, that's not even bad. For like 3 months? What? People pay like $5,000 for mentorships, like $4,000 for mentorships. You just see how much TJR's mentorship is. It's like 2.53 grand. Like, bro, let me get a piece of the pie, bro. Like, what? I'm trying to win too. But like, I've been thinking about it. You definitely want to have like, because if you're not genuinely like helping your students become profitable, then you're just a loser, you know. Then you're just genuinely just milking people. It's different if you know they're genuinely graduating, because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want them to learn the concept, understand it. Oh, did you guys hear that? You want them to genuinely understand the concept, learn from it, and make money from it, you know. But anyways, it's all about just teaching and like being a genuine good teacher, you know. I'm not like unbiased to like the mentorship thing. I actually like promote the mentorship. Like, if you want to get a mentorship, get a mentorship. Unfortunately, I don't have one right now to sell you guys on. Dang it, bro. I need the cash. I'm broke. But I will say, like, if you could genuinely learn from someone, you'll forever speed up your, you know, rate of learning. That's a given. That's in anything, bro. Anyways, true saves and missed wins. 6 out of those 7 trades were scaling mechanics plus lack of conviction when a valid trade idea turned into a miss win. Then if we add yesterday and today, total of 9, blah, blah, blah. That's an 89% leak rate from mechanics alone. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, that's so brutal. Your model is working better than your P&L shows. If 8 out of 9 break-even trades were actually valid trades that should have hit target, your true win rate is being disguised. Scaling is currently subtracting, not adding. The very thing you're using to maximize risk efficiency is actually bleeding profitability out of your system. Conviction gap already told me, you know, very, very nervous, blah, blah, blah. What to do next? Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I'm about to break down in the video what we talked about earlier in order for me to properly have scaling mechanics. Just in case, can you break down everything again, so I can mention it in the video? Also, don't forget to include the highs and lows where I do scale in an additional entry if I get the opportunity. So you guys may be like, what do you mean? The reason why I'm saying this is because if you guys did not know my prior scaling mechanics, this is how it would go. Upon strong initial displacement from entering, I would scale in. So let's take this for example. Let's say our original entry is here. Upon this candle, cool. I scale in a contract, or I execute a, you know, trade idea, whatever. Execute, go short, awesome. SL here, TB doesn't matter where it is in this example, right? That's my first contract. Upon initial displacement lower, that's when I would look to immediately scale in, regardless of whether or not we have a high here. A good example I can show you guys would be something like this. Nope, not this. Not this, not this, not this, not this. This I scaled improperly. This was a great scaling. I can't lie. This was a great scaling, actually. I just didn't take my profits. Dang it, bro. Let's see. This trade idea. Okay, here. So, you see I try to put it below this wick. However, if this wick wasn't here, I still would have had my skeleton entry probably below here in this area. I really want to find a perfect example for you guys so you guys can see what I mean. Okay. Yeah, okay, this is a good example. So upon the first initial displacement higher, my entry was probably here or something, and then I trailed it. You can see that this is not a prominent swing high or swing low. This is kind of just in the middle of nowhere. Or I kind of make up the fact that, hey, we have an internal low here. Regardless, I would scale in an additional contract as soon as price action displaced in my direction. That's when I would scale in my first contract. That would be fixed almost all the time unless we ended up forming a, prominent low and then continued higher. Then I'd scale in below that low. However, here's the issue with this. Here was the issue with this. Because of me scaling in oftentimes so quickly within the first couple minutes of a trade idea, it wasn't about like the risk allocated on the table, but instead the probability that we would make a retracement stop me out just like today before continuing higher. So if we literally go to today, that's a perfect example. So what do we see? Okay, I got my execution. We had strong initial displacement higher. I scale into my trade position. I set my SO in this area. You can see, sure, you can call it like inverse here, whatever, blah blah blah. But the truth is it's in the void. It's in the middle of nowhere. Based upon technicals. You could call the order block or, call whatever you want. That's fine. I'm just saying based upon what I utilize. This is not in a prominent enough location, a swing high, swing low, to keep my SL above or below. So what ends up happening? Price action ends up making a retracement. I get stopped out. I don't fully know whether or not my trade idea has been fully invalidated yet, or whether or not that was simply just a retracement before we continue higher, just like today, just like yesterday. So what did I do? I sat there, stopped, and thought for a second. I was like, okay, well, I don't want this to happen anymore. However, I also don't want to not scale in entries anymore. Why? Because it helps with my trade psychology when, I know I still have those opportunities with my trading model to catch those high RR trades, like those 1 to 8 RR trades from scaling in additional contracts. That's how I want to trade, I want to trade like this. Even though I understand those trade ideas won't occur all the time. However, I still want to be consistent with those base hits, those 1 to 2s and 1 to 3s, with a high win rate, high strike rate, whatever you want to call it, right? But my mind got too caught up on scaling that it ended up making it a requirement rather than a bonus. And that's what ChatGPT was telling me earlier when I actually figured this out on my own, and then bro just kind of like repeated it back to me. However, I was thinking about how me managing my risk also affects my psychology with certain trade ideas, as well as how much profit I've given up simply from scaling in, and how much lack of clarity and fogginess I've had during trades from scaling in upon the first initial displacement. Because once price action balances out and starts trading regularly like this, I could get a gauge on like when to scale and when to not scale, and however, it's that first initial displacement that kind of gets me shaky, because when I do scale in, oftentimes 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 times, there's not really any significant low to set my SL below that's validating. which allows price action to retrace, stop me out to the tick, and continue higher. This has happened more times than I can count. Okay, like 5 times, maybe like 3. Okay, I can't only count to 3. I can count further higher than 3. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. So while I was on the way to the doctor, we kind of adjusted my risk and adjusted my scaling parameters just a little bit. So we kept the idea of scaling in based upon newly formed internal liquidity lows, wick lows during the trade. Wick lows during the trade, remember that. Now, before that, how did we filter and fix this first initial displacement? This is how we fixed it. So, we focused on risk management for a second, and we realized base entry is king. What do I mean by this? A lot of the times, or not a lot of the times, I've also mentioned in the past just a little bit how my risk management at times allows me to kind of fall into, I'm definitely not a top ticker, not at all, or bottom ticker, but the risk management wise, kind of where it allows me to risk very, very little. However, upon the first initial execution, however, once I see price action displace in my direction, I could scale in additional contracts, increasing my risk reward gradually. So like today, where I scaled in with one contract, once I seen price action displace in my direction, I scaled in an additional one, averaging out my risk. Now, here's the issue with that. If price action has times where you execute upon, let's say you execute with one contract first, wait to see displacement in your direction, then scale in, you may have times where price action just dumps to your draw on liquidity or rallies to your draw on liquidity too quickly for you to get a scaled in opportunity, meaning you'd be stuck with a low risk profit. Sure, your take profit would have been 1 to 3 RR, but if you only risked one contract, having planned to scale in additional contracts, you're stuck having only made, only risked $50 instead of the actual $150 you would have been willing to risk, lessening your profit. Now, you guys may be like, Light, why are you mentioning all of this? What is the point of mentioning this? This is why I'm mentioning it. Because psychologically, that would affect a lot of people and be like, dang, I missed out on a lot of profit today because I didn't get a scaled in opportunity. However, there's also a downside to that, and this is the downside, that if you scale in too quickly, you may have a situation like this, like me, where you get trailed out before the proper move. So how do we fix this and still, keep our head on our shoulders psychologically and not lose our mind? And that's where the first principle comes in. Base entry is king. And this will always tie back to how scaling is a bonus and not a requirement. That's huge. So what do I mean by base entry is king? Your base flat risk parameter. So I know I've been trying to cut my losses, more and more gradually as we continue, trading. However, with doing so, I realize it's causing a slight leakage in my trading psychology to where I don't want to fully risk what I'm comfortable risking, by the way. The rules I set I'm comfortable to risk on a trade idea, which adds some sort of fog, because now I'm trying to risk as less contracts as little and scale in as much as I can. That's not what we want. So base entry is king. So continuing to keep your proper risk, genuinely following my risk management rules and understanding if I get an opportunity to scale in, guess what that is? It's an opportunity. It is not a requirement for me to scale in it into an additional trade. Why am I saying this? Because just like in the example I mentioned, let's say we execute and price action immediately rallies to our take profit with no opportunity to scale. Guess what? I still get that base initial hit, that initial risk to reward, profit I would have gotten regularly, right? However, let's say I get a scaled in opportunity toward that drawn liquidity, even better now. Then I get the opportunity to scale in an additional contract based upon how price action is, developing toward that drawing liquidity, increasing what would have been my previous profit. Do you get where I'm going with this? It's like you have a flat, hopefully you guys get it, it's pretty simple to understand, but you have your flat baseline risk, right? This is what you're expecting. Cool. We're expecting this. However, if price action allows before this an additional scaled in entry, then guess what? Obviously, your profit increases. However, we have to understand at times, you know, price action can sometimes just displace this draw immediately, or it can have times where it retraces for a bit, allows in some opportunity before continuing, in this example, higher. But the main premise is to understand that scaling is an opportunity and not a requirement. So it still allows me to trade consistently and get those base hits, taking those 1 to 2s and 1 to 3s, still being consistent, not every day approaching the market, crossing my fingers, hoping, please, 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 I want 8 additional scaled in contracts and I want to make $1,000 today across all accounts, from scaling in from 1 micro all the way up to 1 mini, because I was able to scale in 9 contracts improperly. That's not what I want. I want to be able to execute, react to what price action is doing, meaning if it allows a scale in opportunity, cool, I'll do it. If it doesn't, guess what? I'll stay back and I'll still hit my, risk to reward of 1 to, 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 at times, or 1 to 4 at times. Take my money, get out the market, right? Consistency, consistently how I should be. So, base entry is king. Always take your base entry with full conviction. Entry, stop, target. That base trade is your system untouched. Scaling is a bonus only. 2. Scaling equals adding on, not a requirement. We already went over this. Only add once price is confirmed. Displacement, liquidity sweep, or change state of delivery aligned with higher time frame bias. Now, that's just saying something stupid. It's not, that's like upon getting into a trade, it mixed it up, bro. However, I scale in upon forming prominent swing highs and swing lows like this, where we continue to validate. Today would have allowed potentially 2 scaled in entries here and here. However, the risk wouldn't have really been balanced out with a couple of points, so only just here maybe. And yesterday we would have been able to catch the whole move, because this isn't a prominent high. This is, and this is. So, because our rules obviously would have changed from, it's no longer simply just see displacement, execute. It's see displacement, what is happening within price action. Have we formed a new high? Have we formed a new low, a genuine higher low? Then execute, right? And now, we'll try this out for a bit. If we get, let's say we do end up getting trailed out or stopped out with it, guess what we do? We refine. We continue to refine until we get it. Simple as that. But, yeah. So, and then don't over nervously scale. If you ever feel the need to scale, that's usually when you might get chopped. Scaling is optional, not force. Where to scale internal highs and lows. If price sweep, stack highs and lows, confirms direction with displacement, that's a clean spot to scale. That's already what I told it. It said fresh for rally gap such PD arrays. I don't care about that. Even though swing highs and swing lows still count as PD arrays. It's just a fancy word for like whatever. Break a structure, blah blah blah. That's not what I'm gonna be doing that. However, yeah. Trailing mechanics. Don't trail the base contract aggressively. Let it play out to target. If scaling in, you can trail extra contracts tighter. So even if they get clipped, I don't know what it's saying there. That's just, I don't know what it's saying. Profit taking is just talking about profit taking. Yeah, that was literally it. So that was huge today. Very, very, very massive. Still massive. But one thing we need to do before we can actually confirm this potential idea is look at all of our trade ideas and see, okay, what would have happened differently on certain trade ideas where I scaled. Let's say on some trade ideas I scaled in 8 additional contracts or 5 additional contracts. Based upon my new mechanics and new rules, how many additional contracts would I have been allowed to scale in with mechanically? And because this has been an opportunity for me to scale in at least one contract into every single trade position. But then again, approaching it like I said before, if I have my base risk, I don't need to feel the pressure to do so. I've also thought a lot about, would I be trading the same way I am right now, trying to force a little bit more outcomes if I had 20 accounts copy traded? If one singular take profit of $300, $400 copy traded across 20 accounts meant $8,000 days, 4-figure days, 5-figure days. And most likely the answer is no. I wouldn't beat myself up about, a $300 profit, a $250 profit, always trying to aim for $800 profits, $900 profits, $1,000 profits, you know. And even right now, I already see that reflected in my P&L, that I prefer those consistent base hits rather than those huge spikes in my P&L. So, yeah, let me... Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder how you are. Or whatever, however it goes. By the way, do you guys think this is a locked-in room? You guys think this is a locked-in room? Mattress on the floor, desk, window, fold your clothes up in the corner of the room, wake up, roll out of bed, get to work, just stay locked in. I think it's pretty friggin' locked. Just thinking. That is how I would have my room though. Hopefully have mentorship calls with students, because that's really the only thing that gets me excited besides trading. Is talking about trading, because I'm a loser. But I mean, better to be a loser with money than a loser that's broke, right? Like what? Okay. So now we're gonna look into. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go get a glass of water here. I'm gonna pause. I'll be right back. I'm not gonna lie. I just came back and then I took my pants off in the video, and I was like, dang, I look pretty good. And then I was like, oh yeah. I need the lighting to hit me good. Can you even? Are my abs even still there anymore? Bro, I for real lost my abs, bro. Okay, I just took my pants off because it is getting hot. I'm gonna turn this fan back on. So, water is the best beverage of all time. Top 3 beverage, and it ain't 2 or 3. So, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, we're gonna take a look at all of my break-even trades, and then I want to go over everything we've learned so far and how we've already looked to apply it into our trading model. Because, like I said before a couple of days ago, your success will skyrocket once you're able to quickly apply what you have learned, and learn faster in order to apply it. You get what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to say, bro. Seen it from an Instagram reel. Let me be, bro. So, let's look at our trades right now. What do I want to listen to, man? What do I want to listen to, man? Oh yeah. If you guys have never watched, Billionaire Bears, go watch them. Genuinely my favorite channel of all time. Yeah. Why did I move my thing to my second monitor, you may ask? Because I don't want my ASMR just to pop up on the screen and you guys be like, what? Well, not that it matters. Someone commented on my video, and here, let's see what he said. Comment on my video. We're gonna respond in this video right now. Hold up. Wait. Okay, this is what he said. So he said, oh my goodness, bro, everything is just... Let me fix this real quick. Let me be back in like 2 seconds, bro. I've spent like 5 minutes doing jack. Okay, so he said, what did he say? Which, on this video, I was also going to mention, please don't give me trading advice. I am not like these other traders. Respectfully, I'm not like these other traders. I know how to problem solve. I know how to figure out my issues. I've done it a lot of times. Now, it may seem arrogant saying, please don't give me advice. But I will not, unfortunately, I'm too stubborn to take advice. That's why it's taking me so long to succeed, bro. But anyways, he said 99% of the times you get stopped out, you get out, he was talking about the mech model. Unless the other player is really close, you should be looking to see, oh yeah, you're talking about mech model. What Patty and Blake do in order to secure profit. Yeah, I know. Yes, guys, bro, I know. I just don't. But this channel right here, best channel ever. My favorite YouTube channel. They haven't uploaded in a year, which is heartbreaking, but I remember when they first uploaded their first video, oh my goodness, it was just genuinely life, it changed my life. This is how I started trading. I started using this guy's indicators. They make documentaries on traders, and that's how I got my first payout. It was literally life-changing. Anyways, I got their soundtrack because it always makes me feel like I'm in a movie. So yeah, no, holy. See, the thing is, it's like I like to enjoy my time while I'm reviewing. I don't like to be so like, as then your mind's like, no, bro, I'm not trying to review, bro. Just go scroll TikTok. But I have fun when I can go off topic sometimes and then go back on topic. It's not like anyone watches these anyway, so it doesn't freaking matter. If you do, holy cow, there's a lot of content to watch. So, looking at this first trade idea, strong displacement to the upside, clear draw, very clear. Great trade idea. The entire trade idea as a whole was good. The scaling in, now this was not the first issue. However, I would have preferred to have my SL below here, but still, even in that moment, I would still have potential doubt that price action can come down, take out that low before continuing higher. So I would say where I set my SL is good, but it's not a valid location. If it genuinely wanted to be a valid location, like I said, above a higher low, it would be below that wick low, and it would stay below that wick low, almost canceling out my risk. That's when I would be genuinely break even. However, I'm surprised I didn't scale in any additional contracts here. I think I may have. Yeah, okay, by this image, I already had 4 skilled in contracts. By the way, I executed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, I skilled in 4 additional contracts, not having any new, before this one, by the way, not having any new low to, set my SL below. Meaning, during that time, my SL was floating from here to here to here to here to here, or wherever, within this first initial leg. Price action continued higher. See, that's when I set my SL properly. I set it below that wick low. That's where it should have stayed. It was perfect. Price action made a retracement, so you can see, or You can see what though? What what's going on? Okay, here. So my SL should have remained here. I said I was done scaling in for the day. Now, where I could have set my new SL was here. This was a very, very, very prominent wick low. However, this low and this rejection block continued to hold valid, so I could have still had it there. Didn't need to scale in additional contracts. I was good with where I was at. Pretty sure my take profit was pretty large too. It's already around $800. I wanted to get it to around 1100. I wanted a record trade. However, guess what I did? I scaled in, yes, below a wick low. However, it wasn't a validating wick low. This rejection block, we came down, tested it a multitude of times. So guess what happened? Upon taking out this high, came back down, trailed me out below this low when I shouldn't have scaled in. If I would have continued to follow my protocols, I would have just kept it below this prominent low here, still been in this trade, and then price action ran immediately to my drawn liquidity. Clean example. So, scaled in upon first initial displacement. This one's my like absolute favorite. It's so like mysterious, so like I don't know, bro. Anyways, in this scene, oh, you guys need to watch the videos, bro. Yeah, what if you're watching this video, go and watch Billionaire Bear's video. Watch the one of the man who, the $441 million day trader, or $144 million day trader, and then $33 million in a single trade. Watch those two, Sis and BNF. Watch those two, and then watch anyways, I'm getting so sidetracked. Watch Nav's. Nav's documentary is crazy. I'm pretty sure bro's still arrested. Crazy though. I aspire to be like him. By the age of 18, he already made his first $1 million scalping from his parents' bedroom. Then he got arrested later. Anyways, free nav. Anyway, so price action. These aren't prominent wick lows. This isn't something to scale into. So no wonder why I ended up getting trailed out below. This is a horrible example of scaling in to simply increase profit due to when seeing the consolidation right here. Consolidation is right in front of your eyes. However, here's the thing. This would have been one of those examples I mentioned earlier, how we wouldn't have gotten additional scaled in executions. Very, very likely we would have gotten them. Probably would have had one trade idea, simple static risk. Maybe the risk to reward was 1 to, what if I had to measure it out? SL here, 1 to 1.4 maybe, maybe 1 to 1.5, that range. But still, my goal is to be a consistent day trader. I don't want winning days to be rare. I want to be consistent with my executions, consistent with my profits. After all, I'm trying to change my life with this. I'm going to change my life with this, right? So there's zero reason to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And my model isn't broke. I'm just breaking it. Like, what? Oh my goodness, bro. This is another good example day. Would have hit TP due to Powell. Now, sure, the risk reward does look a little bit more janky on this. Some of you are going to be like 1-to-1 warrior. I'm definitely not a 1-to-1 warrior, even though the last two examples have been, not over 1 and 2. But there's times where that's where the drawn liquidity is. And guess what? If I'm following my model, then nothing I can really do about it, right? However, Powell spoke before this, or right after this. Powell would have been the catalyst for me to hit my drawn liquidity. However, I got trailed out, unfortunately, before that crazy move. But guess what? If I was in the trade, would have hit take profit. Simple as that. Saw price developed, guess what? This still was not a prominent enough swing low to set my SL below. When I mean swing low, I mean literally something like this. Coming down, making a retracement, not just a quick wick here, and then continue higher. This is genuinely like my trading flow state, bro. Like, I want that like 50K a month lifestyle with sleeping on a mattress and you only got a desk in your room so bad. Like, I will have that lifestyle. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, like, I'm going to wake up, make 12 grand, have a mentorship call right after that. I'm going to be making like 8K a month from my mentorship. On average, total monthly, probably be averaging around like 45 to 60K a month in profit, into my bank. AMG, still stacking my funds, having not yet bought, supercar, still compounding my trading, reinvesting my profits, having gotten e-commerce mentor, all this other, bro. I have so many plans, bro, and I will achieve all of them. And it's crazy how no one will know this because no one's gonna watch this video, so it's gonna be like an ancient relic. Yeah. But like, I just see that vision so bad. And then I'm gonna travel to Europe, gonna trade, still have calls here and there. All my students would adjust to the time zone I'm in. Sorry, boys, when I go to Bali, you guys gotta figure something out. You guys either gotta stay up or you guys gotta like lay up. Like, what are we doing here? You guys gotta watch the video recordings because, yeah, no, I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. for a mentorship call for you guys. I love you guys, but guys, like, let's be real. Let's be real. Okay. Go image by image. First entry, solid. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Scaling in the void. Nothing is there. However, this is a very, very clean trade. Stacked highs, stacked resting liquidity, just like we figured out the other day, with having at least 3 stacked, or well, really 2, mainly because you can target the first high as low-hanging fruit, but three resting highs or lows, liquidity, low resistance liquidity. Holy cow. LRL, like, bro, what am I thinking? My brain is just scaled into the void. Okay, cool. You can see 157 was my initial risk. Then I scaled into 132. However, the RR became larger. So before, it looked like the RR was still relatively solid, probably 1 to 2.1, maybe 1 to 2.3. Multiple targets on this too. All that for us to hit our take profit and me look to forcefully target more before getting trailed out. Literally 1.2k scaled profit is what I wanted. Now, if I would have hit that, would have been a crazy, crazy day. But didn't, and I'm happy I didn't because we're reviewing it now. I don't need those crazy large days. Do I want them at times? Yes, but I want to be consistent with my base hits. I will say this until I am consistent with my base hits. This I closed immediately. I knew it was just it was piss and balls. So fortunately I did. That would have been a loss. This was a trade idea I could have taken, however didn't, and then ended up taking it on ES and then closing immediately because I realized how garbage it was. Why would I trade ES? No shade to ES. ES is good sometimes, but like, then we're gonna go over 2 trades today, or this week. First initial trade idea, cool. SL above high, right? Simple. This is good. When I scaled in, my SL was above a high right here. This is good. This is valid. This is 100% valid to keep my. This is a perfect example of great scaling. Now, should I have scaled in and shown my entry here? No, that was so risky. I was 1 point away from getting stopped out and then price dumped, and I still didn't take profit. I've gone through all that and didn't take my profit because it wasn't $600 flat. You serious? Anyway, shouldn't have scaled an additional contract here. Already have my SL here. Now, once price action, if price action like it did would have continued down lower like here, then it would have been fine to scale an additional contract, keep it up here, right? This is an example on how to properly scale in contracts, and then still would have looked to have that internal as my target. Hit internal to the tick. I wanted more. You can see I was kind of targeting the void. I ended up like drawing out equilibrium because I was like, oh, target equilibrium. Like, bro, be so real. Be so real. Trading within the range, I caught the entire range move, and yeah, beautiful trade, by the way. But 100% will mark this as a review. This really was like an A+ trade. The only reason why I can't mark it as A+ was due to my execution. You know, I didn't take my profits. I broke my rules, but everything else was amazing. Still want to mark this as a review. This is an amazing, amazing trade. Amazing trade. Probably one of my best trades, if not my best trade. Just broke my rules. This is the only one that, I guess you could say, prevented me from losing. There were no scaled in contracts here. However, I don't want to mention, oh, I would have taken profit at, you know, low hanging fruit or this and that. You know, I would have hit my profit, wouldn't have. However, for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna say I wouldn't have. Still, solid trade idea, solid execution. Not the largest RR, but still. Would this trade idea have provided an opportunity for a scaled in contract? Yes, around 11:30, but I would have been off of the chart. That's when I'm not really like. I'm only aggressive with my entries, my scaled in entries, in the beginning of the trade. So the first 30 minutes I'm within the trade. After that, I'm passive. I kind of just let the trade go. You know, if I'm on the chart, I'm on the chart. We'll potentially look to scale in. If I'm not, then I'm not. But yeah. Okay. So that was from that. We'll look at. We'll remove this because I need to flag this as. This is a long. Wait, huh? Where's the short I took, bro? This was from today. Oh, I remember. It got freaking mixed up. It got placed somewhere. Where did it get placed? It got placed right here. Move that there. And move. Where is it, bro? Where is it, bro? It's literally just blank. It's not hard to miss. It has no date. Oh, here it is. I'm so dumb. here and here, right? Anyways, looking at these, let's look at this one real quick. This first initial short idea, very, very messy. This is this was a loss due to the liquidity that we knew, right? Oh, didn't we figure that out like yesterday or something? However, so that is definitely not something that was wicked out. But the second trade idea, this one, my gosh, this one, not valid. No, I definitely took this one. I don't know why it says loss. Holy moly, wicked out. Yes. We could see how the price action developed. Displacement lower, scaled in right away. My SL wasn't in a validating, contract yet. Yes, it was due to me seeing how price action was displacing. I was like, hey, I believe in this trade idea. Stop me out. I was hoping for us to take out that high before continuing lower. However, we didn't. Then literally just dumped. And I wrote most likely incorrect bias and draw, and I didn't even include the final image. So actually do that right now. Would hit beyond all three draws and liquidity. And this was an example of a trade that was very, a lot higher RR. This was a 1 to almost 1 to 4R, and with additional scaled contracts, with larger risk reward trades, it adds up fast. You'd be surprised. Okay, there you go. So we have that, and then we had today's. We've already recapped a multitude of times, so I'm not going to go over it. But yeah, so little recap of what we have learned today. What time is it? 9 p.m. Solid. Still get ready for bed and go to sleep on time because I need to start working on my sleep. But today we have learned how to properly scale into trade ideas based upon what we've seen and based upon what has happened before. So what does this mean for our future trades? This means going into every single trading day now, we will continue to have our base risk. We will understand that scaling in is an opportunity and not a requirement. But what does that truly mean for real? That means only and only when price action makes a significant enough retracement and creates a prominent within trend swing high or swing low is when we will potentially look to scale in an additional contract if we have displacement after creating that high or low within our desired direction. Only scaling in one contract at a time, always keeping our scaled contracts above highs and lows, not weird wicks like this, but prominent swing highs and swing lows, right? Only scaling in additional contracts toward the draw on liquidity, obviously. However, also understanding we may have times where we just keep our SL open and allow price action to develop how it should. I have a lot to put together that I haven't yet, but that's what we have for now. That's what we got from today. Today, I personally think was a great review day. We're really beginning to knock this stuff out, I'm not gonna lie, and like really, really understand where the leaks are in our model and all of the sorts. So I wish I could have like whole composing file of data. I am gonna make it. It's just gonna take a bit of time because I need to put the data of our losses. I need to put the data of the losses within the losses. I need to put the data of the break evens, the data of the break evens within the break evens, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for watching this video, and peace.